Hello and welcome back to the Dandelion Diaries. So, if you've seen some of my previous videos, I talked about Spanish, and Spanish is one of my goals this year, is to become fluent by the end of the year, and I wanted to have a way to practice and also practice more, I guess, in Spanish. So this is a B6 Undated Common Planner, and I plan on using this solely for Spanish or language practice, so like if you wanted to learn another language. But the book I was really excited about that I wanted to share with you guys was this book here. This is called the Everything Learning Spanish book, and it is the second edition. I don't know where the first one is, but I will be sure to link this one down in the description. So what this is a workbook on Spanish, and my boyfriend has other languages with this exact type of book, the Everything Learning, and they are very, very good. So I wanted to pick up the Spanish one to kind of help myself learn more in Spanish versus just using the apps like Duolingo or Babbel, things like that. The reason why I wanted to share this with you guys is because it is a workbook and it also has a CD in the back, and I'll get to the CD in a second. But when you go through the lessons, it has like the different pronunciations, how to say different things with the pronunciation written out in English. So like if you're not fluent, if like you're fluent in English but you're trying to learn another language, this is really, really helpful. And then, here, let me get to the more workbooky sections. So like, here we go. So like here it has a question, you informal singular used like the Johnsons. So you would want to translate the following sentences. So you would write it out in Spanish in this book. So my plan is to correlate this book here, which I haven't started yet, also the learnings that I'm doing in my Duolingo app and on my Babbel or whatever, and put it into this book here. I've already kind of set this up, so I wanted to show you guys what I'm doing with this. So it is undated, and I haven't really done anything with the front pages or anything, or the goals, because I don't know what I want to do with those yet. But for the quarterly pages, this is what I'm going to show. So I have written everything entirely in Spanish. So like all of the months are in Spanish, all of my writing here is in Spanish, the quarter is in Spanish, all of my priorities are in Spanish, and then every kind of task or goal I would have for each month is also in Spanish. My plan with this is to become fluent. I want to be able to write, read, and speak in Spanish entirely. That's fluency to me. And using the Undated Common Planner, I have the ability to literally write everything in Spanish, no English whatsoever. So when I reference this, I will know that I'm solely doing it in Spanish. So for example, prioridades is priorities. And then my number one priority is practicar hablar español con mi familia. So I want to practice my Spanish with my family. Practice speaking my Spanish with my family is really what that says. But the point is, in this book, I literally have everything solely in Spanish, and I will be able to take notes solely in Spanish. So this would be like quarter 4 setup, and then this is my month of July. So as you can see here, I have everything in Spanish. The month is in Spanish, all of the days of the week are in Spanish. Este mes is this month, all that's in Spanish, and then metas principales is also my goals, my primary goals is in Spanish. Being able to translate what I normally have going on in my planner into the language I'm trying to learn is helping me become more conversational in it. And again, like when I'm practicing my pronunciation, I want to be able to say like independencia fluently without having any struggles, which speaking faster is harder. But like this day we did a fast, so ayuno de 36 horas. Or I could say this day we went to a peach festival, which was Festival de Durazno. Like, it's helpful. And the fact that this is undated means I can put everything in Spanish entirely. I haven't set up the rest of the months yet because, like I said, I just kind of wanted to try this out to see how I would do. But when we get to the weekly section, this is when I plan on doing either a translation again of what's in my like regular planner in English into Spanish here, or I may even do like which lessons I'm planning to do for each day of this week. So like this was week 28 and I haven't filled this out, so I will probably back plan this one to show what I did this week in English into Spanish into this book. But the following week that I set up, I will do it as like I'm going to complete lesson 1, 2, 3, 4 in this book, or lessons 5, 6, 7, 8 in Duolingo, whatever. So that way I have the task list solely for Spanish in this book. That's what this book is for, solely for language. And then when we get back to the notes pages, this is where I can do more of my practicing. So what I write down in this workbook for those lessons, where like, you know, verb practice, I can write up here verb practice, and I can literally transcribe what I put in here into here, and that way it's like a double work, if that makes sense, which double worked isn't probably the best way to put it. It's like rewriting your notes to learn it better. If you've ever studied anything really hard and you've rewritten notes that you've already written from class, so like say you were a college student and you're writing notes really fast from the professor's lecture, and then when you get back to your apartment, dorm room, whatever, you retranscribe those notes. It's like relearning that information a second time, and it gives you a better understanding, which is what I want to do with Spanish, because I really do want to become absolutely fluent in it to where I could have a whole conversation with a stranger. But the whole point of this being is that I would be writing in Spanish what I've already done in English, so that way I can learn how to transform it better into a conversation based on what I've already written down and know how to say when writing down. I will say that if you are reading this, I did use a lot of Google Translate to write out some of the things on here, since I don't know a whole lot of Spanish yet. But my goal is by the end of this book, I will have everything totally in Spanish and be able to write it without using any kind of Google Translate or any kind of reference to another book. Okay, so that is all I'm going to include for this video. I will try to give you guys updates on how my Spanish book goes when I do like my monthly flip throughs, or I may make separate videos, I'm not sure yet. But I just wanted to be sure I shared this book with you guys because it is awesome. Oh, before I forget, the CD in the back. So this is what the CD looks like. It comes with the book, and in my experience with the other languages that are in this book kind of series, the Everything Learning, they all have a disc. So we have a French one, a Portuguese one, I think a Russian one even, and they all have the disc in the back that helps you with pronunciation. So that is one thing that I've always struggled with when learning a new language, is pronunciation. And so hearing it in the way it's supposed to be spoken helps tremendously. And while Google Translate is really good for things like that, it does have the little speech part, I feel like this is also a better reference because I can literally skip through the different lessons in the book where it shows the little CD. So like track 23, I know is going to be all of these words here. And that way I can have a better reference of how to pronounce that word from that CD. All right, if you find this video helpful, please let me know in the comments, because I know a lot of us out there are trying to learn new languages, whether it be Spanish, French, Chinese, Japanese, whatever it is. I would love to know if this would be any kind of, I would love to know if this would be helpful for you. But if you're interested in more content from me, I do have an Instagram. I will leave my handle on the screen. But for now, I thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.